To know you, and we accept your insurance plan. Churchill Pharmacy, inside Dan's Supermarket, Northwest Bismarck.
.933 on North Dakota today. If you own a home, or maybe even if you don't own a home, if you're just renting, you're going to run into this problem eventually. It's inevitable. A hole in your drywall, and unless you know what you're doing, it can be really a big mess. It can be intimidating as well.
But Kevin, that's where the NTT handyman comes in. Jeff Hintz, the owner of Kirkwood Ace Hardware in Bismarck. Welcome back, Jeff.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Everybody has to deal with this at some point or another. You know, some people may punch a hole in the wall. We won't mention any names, but I mean, I'm sure you've run into this problem too.
Just about everybody has it. You mentioned homes or apartments. People want their deposit backs. They want to fix the holes in the walls where they've hung things. Or the funny line we get at the store, well, how big's the hole? Head size seems to be the most common. I don't know what's going on, but basically most of it is from little things that we do to the walls that we have to fix when we change our mind. Now, one of the common things that you see is a hole like this, where something was anchored and the whole thing pulled out. That's generally the towel bars in your bathroom, things like that, because the thing that anchored it was behind the sheetrock, and when it pulls everything out. A lot of them are little holes like this one, which is just from a nail or some tiny anchor. One of the anchors we like is this plastic one, because you can just, after you put it in, you can use a Phillips screwdriver and just take it out, and it doesn't leave much damage like these anchors. So when you are anchoring something, that's worth looking at that. We looked at that a couple weeks ago. But fixing holes like that are very, very easy. We have different types of spackling. Confusing when you come to the store. There's all these different ones. There's this one, and this one. The basic difference is one feels very, very light, and it's called lightweight spackling.
Can I try?
Yep. Okay. One feels very heavy. That's standard spackling. The difference is the amount of water in the can. The water in that one makes it much creamier, much easier to use. This one, it's weird. It kind of looks like toothpaste. It's a weird consistency. See, it's kind of powdery, so it makes it harder to use.
That's the one I normally use.
But what happens then when you have a bigger hole like this, it doesn't sag out. It's more likely to fit in and fill. A little harder to use, but also you can generally paint within an hour or so, whereas some of these other ones you'd have to wait.
And if you're an impatient person like me, that's what you go with.
So I love these plastic putty knives.
And that's the lighter one?
That's the lightweight one, and just feel that. It's kind of, isn't that different? Yeah,
it doesn't stick behind.
It's playing with the spackling.
It's always powdery. The Play-Doh day. Okay, and just these are simple things. You just take, and you're just going to smooth it over and fill your hole and scrape off the excess.
And sometimes it does shrink up a little bit, so
and that's
wait for it to dry and then do it again.
See, the great thing with the lightweight is there's no water there. It doesn't shrink.
Oh, well,
the regular spackling, when the water dries out of it, it's going to shrink.
When you get to a bigger hole, I'm thinking you're going to have to do that a couple of times.
And sometimes what you'll do with a bigger hole, you'll fill on the bottom and then let that dry, and then you do the top. Okay. Now that we're going to try this with lightweight, we can probably get away with doing the whole thing at once. And what you would run into with the regular spackling is that probably would have been weeping back out.
Yeah, now, and it's okay to have a little excess there because you're going to sand that off.
You're going to sand that at the end. So, and if you try to get it absolutely smooth, like let's do this one, you're going to always leave little bits and pieces that didn't fill. So you can go very smooth if you have to or want to, but then, you know, just put the stuff over, and again, like you said, leave a little bit extra on the top. One of the things, we know that one dries about an hour. The other ones have to dry overnight. This one is a little different. It is pink. And
wait a minute. No. Real men cannot use it.
Pink, purple, whatever you want to say. Mauve. Is that acceptable? That will dry white, and then you know when it is dry.
So it tells you it's dry.
It tells you it's done because it'll dry white.
It will be white when it is dry.
Exactly. Okay. So holes like that are very simple. Now a lot of the times we have cracks in the house, in the sheetrock, and the crack is from some structural stress in the house. Something's moving.
All right.
Okay, so we can go with that spackling and just fill the crack in again, but it's just going to break again because there's a stress point in the house. So there is this stuff. It is a screened tape, adhesive sticky on one side, and that'll go over, just goes right over the crack, sticks to the sheetrock, and that'll help stop the movement in that crack. And then we're going to take regular drywall mud.
Oh, not the spackling.
No, you can do the spackling, but we like the drywall mud because that's going to soak into those spots in the tape a little bit, and you just go over, and now you're going to be a sheetrock expert, and you're just going to go over. And this is probably going to take a couple layers to get this nice.
And again, it's all, at least from my experience, Jeff, it's been all about the sanding. How good of a sander you are.
And you want to build some film here, because you see on the first coat that screening is going to show through.
Yeah.
So you're going to let that one dry, do another coat, let it dry, probably get the build up, and then sand it smooth. And then the great thing is, we'll do this a little bit here. After it's all done, not pretty there, but you can actually spray texture and go over and make it match the rest of your
With
wall
a can of spray texture, folks. Who'd have thunk?
In the past, you have had to hire a pretty expensive expert to do your spray texturing. That stuff will give you a spray texture finish.
Right there.
And very easy to make it look like the rest of your wall. Perfect.
Excellent. Let's get to the big one here.
Here's our problem.
Head size.
What happens when you have
punch
that
a
big
hole
hole?
in the
Now, there's a
wall.
couple things you can...
Headbutt it.
Here, the spackman's not going to sit in there. What are we going to do? You know, and a couple of tricks. You can stuff newspaper in that hole, fill it up. Spray foam is a possibility. You can fill the cavity with spray foam. But very important to buy the minimal expand spray foam. It'll be called window door or minimum expanding. If you buy the regular spray foam, it can puff your sheetrock out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with this one, we're going to do a little trick here, though. Little piece of board, and we're going to build a background for that.
Have a little
I have a little
nail
screw
going-
in there
screw going
because I'm going to
through
need to hold on to this. So we're going to put that in here and there. And let's
You've got the
see.
screws
Okay,
already
so you
set
want me
in
to hold
there.
this?
Actually, it's okay.
Help him
I
out
go
there,
right
Mike.
over here.
Oh.
And let's see if we, by holding it up, and the drill should be in forward, guys. Sorry.
All right.
And there, we're just going to. Now we've built a background for our patch, and then you can just go put a little piece of sheetrock in there.
And again, you can just eyeball the size of that patch. You don't have to be, you don't have to be really precise with it. This is art, folks. This is not science.
I'm having trouble reaching over, guys. There we go.
There we go.
And then again, you get that in there. Just
Again
take
with the
your
drywall mud.
drywall mud and
Okay.
fill in the cracks around the outside. Very easy to do. Now, if you don't want to do all that messing around, pretty easy to just go to the store.
And that took a minute.
It took a minute. Yeah, I had things ready there. It's not the prettiest job doing it from the back. Self-adhesive drywall patch. And this is a little piece of kind of plastic with some of that same screening on it. See if we can get this off. And again, it's self-adhesive. So if you don't want to go through all that, just get one of these and plop right over the top.
Same thing as the tape in a way.
Yep. The drawback to this would be without that piece of sheetrock back there, it wouldn't be as strong in that spot.
Okay.
We're very strong because we put a board in there and we braced it. But again, you'd go right back with your drywall mud and you would finish and tape this off. And this is going to take several coats again to go over and do.
So
But
you gotta have a little patience here.
you do, but you can actually do a very, very professional job at home. The thing is not to rush, to be content to layer these and bring them up a little bit at a time. There's all sorts of great things at stores that are going to help you to do these things. Little tricks like putting the board with a screw in for a structure and solid, the tape that's going to stop that crack from cracking again.
Yep.
But patience, layering, and then again, you can do all these things to make it look like the textured wall that is around the outside of it. It is important when you repaint then probably to prime these surfaces. All these patch materials are porous. And if you try to just paint over them, it's not going to look like the rest of your wall. So good primer on the base coat, and then the biggest thing when you try to paint, touch-ups don't generally work. We'd like you probably to paint that entire wall and make that blend together. Very simple to do, easy to use, very inexpensive. You can fix these holes yourself at your home.
Jeff, thank you so much.
It's
Thanks
fun.
so
Thank
much,
you,
Jeff.
guys.
Here's Jeff's contact information if you want to check him out at Kirkwood Ace Hardware. It's right over there off 7th Street, 805 South on 7th Street, as a matter of fact. Thank you once again, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
You're the man. Okay, when we come back on North Dakota Today, the kids are going to be back in school, so we need to take a look at the hottest high-tech gadgets for them.